You're welcome to the final lesson in this training video. In this lesson, we'll be looking at a simple case study. Your client has two bookshops located in different places. His products are books of the same type and price and compact disc of the same type and price. He wants you to write a program in C++ that will keep record of the number of books and compact disc at the beginning of the day. Record each sale and ask the program for the number of books and compact disc remaining at any given time. So this program is basically meant to do the last three things we have here, and we're going to have a separate function to take care of each of this. A function will take care of the number of books and compact disc at the beginning of the day. Another function will record each sale, and the last function will ask the program for the number of books and compact disc remaining at any given time. So let's go straight to our dev C++ environment. So for this, I will call it bookshop because that's what the program is all about. So I'll call my class bookshop. And of course, the next thing you're going to do is to have your open and closed brace like this, because it's class specification, and we have private. Like I said, I love to make my variables private, and we have public for the functions. And it's important to state this: apart from private and public, it's also possible for you to have what we call protected. Some programmers make use of this when they are dealing with inheritance, and the idea behind this is they prefer to make their variables protected instead of private, so that family members can have access to it. But I don't really like the idea, and that is in line with most programmers, because it's a good programming practice to keep your variables private, not protected, and your functions public. So I don't really use this. And as a matter of fact, in this case study, we'll not even be talking about inheritance, because we only need a single class, which is bookshop. So let's go on and do this. So I'll be making use of two variables, and those two variables are the products they are selling in that bookshop: books and CD. So I'll call my first variable int. Of course, we expect data type to be integer, because we're dealing with whole number. So int available books, or book, will be my first variable, and my second variable will be int available CD. So I love doing this practice, using the first word, using uppercase for my first word if I have more than one word. So in this case now, the A is uppercase, B is uppercase, and as a practice, I prefer doing that for my variable and my function, but you can choose any pattern you want. So like I said, I love making my variables private, and for my public, I'm going to have my functions here. And we're going to be using three functions. The first one would be to initialize the data to let us know how many books and CD we have at the beginning of the day. And the other one will talk about sale, so let us know what we're selling. And the last one will just display the data so that at any given time we can see what we have. So for all these functions, I'm going to make it void, because I don't want them to return anything. So the first function will be void initialize data. Because it's a function, it's going to have the parentheses and this brace, so that I can see what the function is doing. So for this function, I'm going to do a cout first, and \n. Now your new line manipulator \n can actually come at the beginning of your string or at the back, depending on how you want it. In both cases, it will take your cursor to the next line. So for this case study, I prefer it at the beginning. So the first thing is enter the number of available books. So I have a colon, I have a space here, then semicolon. Then of course I need to get the number from the user. So in available book. Now you must be careful to write this the same way you declare it up here. So of course, when you're using C in, you're getting something from the user. It's a good practice to always do a C out first, so that when the cursor is blinking and asking for this, the user will know why the cursor is blinking. So I'll do another C out for the CD. \n, enter the number of available CD, then I'll do a colon, a space, then semicolon. Then of course I need to get this from my user. Available CD, semicolon. Alright, so I think that's all I need this function to do, just to let us know what we have at the beginning, to collect that from the user. So the next function will be the one to sell, and I'll call that function sale. So because it's a function, like I said, the parentheses must be there, and I'll do this brace to let us see what this function will be doing. So for this function, I'm going to add two more variables, and these two variables will be local to this function alone. And because I need to subtract whatever we're selling from this available book and available CD. So I'm going to declare two other integer variables, book sold and CD sold, then a semicolon. Now when you're defining your variable, you can use this approach, or you can use this approach. I can separate this and write it like this. I can do int book sold semicolon, then another int CD sold semicolon, and if I like, I can combine the two like this in one statement or in one line. So let's go ahead. So I'll do a C out because I want this to be able to get the number of books sold from the user before we take our deduction. So like I said, before you do a C in, it's always good to do a C out, so that the user will know what you're doing. Alright, so \n, how many books have you sold? Then there's a space to get this and a semicolon to end the statement. C in book sold, so this will get the value, semicolon. Then I need to take the deduction now. So the variable available book equals available book minus book sold. So with this, we do our deduction, and I'll do another one for the CD sold. So C out \n, how many CD have you sold? Okay, let me put a colon here, then there's, so that to be like the first one. Then of course I need to get that from the user. C in CD sold. Like I said, you must be careful to make sure that this is appearing the same way you wrote it up there. So I do my deduction, available CD, okay, just the same way I have it here, available CD equals available CD minus CD sold, then semicolon. Alright, everything is okay. I think that's all we need for this function. Now the last function will be the one to display our data. So this first one is telling us how many books we have at the beginning. This one is doing the deduction, and the last one will display what we have left. So the last one is coming in from this function. It's just going to display what is inside there and what is inside there. So that's void display data. It's a function, parentheses, then this, and like I said, the only thing we're doing here is just to display. So cout \n books, so just equals, just tell us the number of books we have left, and I need to collect that available book. So this way it's going to pick whatever is here and display it for us at this point. And the other one is cout \n to take it to the new line, then cd equals, and I need it to display that too, available cd. Am I missing out on anything? Yes. Alright, semicolon. So available cd, available book. Alright, so we can go ahead. And let me scroll down. So once you're done with this is the only thing I need this function to do. Then I can end my class specification. Of course, with class specification, you need to always remember that it must end with semicolon. So with this, we're done with our class specification. So let me put a comment here. End of class specification. So we can go ahead now and write the main program and do our main function. Now for this main function, it can be void, it can be int, because I'm not actually returning anything. If I'm using int, it's going to return 0. So let me just use int, but like I said, you can make it void if you want. Int main, and this, then I need to do my opening brace. Alright. So for this main function, the first thing I need to do is to talk about my objects. Now this bookshop, don't forget from our question, let me go back to the PowerPoint. From our question here, we can see that this client has 2 bookshops located in different places. So those 2 bookshops will be our objects, the location 1 and the location 2. So I'm going to have my object to be, of course, the name of my class will come first. If you're specifying this, bookshop, then location 1, which should be the name of my first object. Then I'm going to do for the second one, bookshop space location 2. So my first object is location 1, my second object is location 2. So I can just put a comment here, these objects of class bookshop. So this is just for you to know. Of course, this applies to the second line too. Now once I'm done with that, let me push this down very well, and maybe push this too very well so that we can see what we're doing. Alright, so the next thing now is to talk about my initialization, to initialize my data, to let us know what we have at the beginning of the sale. So I'm going to do a comment here so that you know that this is for sets initial data. And for this one, I will do a cout first. This is always good to know what is happening, \n. So I'm going to write this. So it's going to displace this, initialize data for location 1. So this is for the first object, location 1. Then a semicolon. I don't need another thing. That's the end for that statement. And once I've done this, so this will let us know that what is happening here will be to initialize data. So all I need to do, I don't need to repeat any codes. That's the beauty of functions. All I need to do is to call my function. So the function I'll be calling now is this function initialize data, and I'll be calling it together for this object, for object location 1. And the way to do that is you type the name of the object location 1 and use your dot operator dot the name of the function. If you like, you can copy and paste the function to avoid any error in spelling, and if you know the spelling very well, you can just type straight away. All right. And once you do this, you end with a semicolon. So this is how to call a function. And I can go ahead and do for location 2, the second object, cout \n initialize data for location 2, then a semicolon to end the statements. Then I call location 2 also, location 2 dots, I'll call the function for that initialize data, then this open and close bracket, then the semicolon. Alright, so once you're done with that, we're okay with initialization. So under this main, what we'll be doing basically is just to call our function, call the respective function, because like I said, there's no need typing again. That's the beauty of using functions, and that's also the beauty of object-oriented programming in a sense. Alright, so the next one is to talk about record sale, or the sales you're having. So for this one, I will do a cout also, so that, like I said, it's good to always know what we're doing. So I will do a cout that will say sales from location 1. So my cout to be just to display this, sales from location 1. Then I'll put a space. No, let me put a space here to make it readable. Then semicolon. Then once I'm done with this, the next thing I need to do is to call this function, the function for sale, which is this function, sale. So I just come down here and call that function for location 1. That will be location 1 dot sale, then the parentheses, semicolon. Now I do for the other location, cout \n sales from location 2, and a space to get what we want. Then of course I need to call this other one to location 2 dot sale, then semicolon. And once I'm done with that, I think that's all I need for this also. It's basically to do that. Then I can just do a new line, just cout end L, so that my cursor will go to the new line. Alright, so with this I'm okay with sales. So I can do the last one, which will display our current data. So this one is to display what we have presently, display current data. And for this one, all I just need to do is just to display what I have. So I'll be calling the last function. So I'll do a cout first, like I've been doing for the rest. Cout \n. So this will show us supplies on hand. Or available supplies. Let me just use this word. I like this. Available supply for location 1. Then do this semicolon. And for this, I will call the function in charge of that, and that will be location 1 dots. The function for that is display data. So if you like, you can copy and paste, but this is simple enough. You can quickly type it. Display data, semicolon. And I go ahead and do the other cout. Should be available supply for location 2, and a semicolon. So let me just make this capital to make it nice. Alright, and I call this also location 2 dot display data, then of course it must end with a semicolon. I think that's all we need to do for that, and with that we're okay with all of this. If you notice, for our int main, what we've done basically is just to call all those functions. The reason for all this is see out is to make it readable and to make it appear nice. Apart from that, all we're doing is just talk about our define our objects of a class and call those functions. Now because it's int main, I must end with return something. So in this case, I'm going to return 0, return 0, then semicolon. So I think that's all we need. If there's no spelling error, then our program should run. I don't think there's any spelling error here, so let's just run that. Let's see what we have. All right, so we can see that. So the first one, initialize data for location 1. Of course, that's what we wrote down here. If you check what we have down here, speaking from here, you can see initialize data for location 1, what we wrote here to make it readable. So enter the number of available books. So for this, let's say we have, at the beginning of the say, we have 45 books. If I press enter, something is missing there. It's supposed to tell me the reason why this cursor is blinking. Let me go back. Let's check. I think something is missing after that. Now data for location 1. Let's go back to enter the number of available books. We have this available books. Enter the number of available CD, and we have this. Something went wrong along the line there. It's supposed to show me initialize for. Okay, let me run that again. Let me see. Number of available books, let's say 45. The cursor is blinking. We don't know why it's blinking. Something is wrong for this CD here, because before typing this 46, it should tell me something like enter the number of available CD. I didn't get this information, but I can do this C in. That means, oh wow, you can see this. This is why it's very, very important when you're programming to always make sure that everything is intact. This is supposed to be double symbol, not a single one, and that's why this line was omitted. So like I said the other time, if you don't print this, you see the cursor blinking and you don't even know why it's blinking. So now I should have what I'm actually looking for. So that's one thing about programming. You need to be careful everything is right. So enter the number of available books. Let's say we have 45. Enter the number of available CD. Let's say we have 56. Initialize data for location 2. Enter the number of available books. This is now for the second location. Let's say for the second location we have 40 for books, and for the CD, let's say we have 35. So it's going to ask me about the say now. How many books have you sold for location 1? Let's say we've sold 20. And how many CDs have you sold for location 1? Let's say we've sold out of 56, we've sold 30. So it says from location 2, how many books have you sold? This out of 40, let's say we've sold 15. And out of 35 CD, let's say we've sold 20. So if I click on this now, you can see that it's now showing everything I have. Available supply for location 1. The books is, I have 25 books left, and CDs 26 left, then 25 of these, 15 of these. Of course, if you take your deduction, you notice that this is accurate, because out of 45 here, I said we've sold for location 1 20, remaining 25, which is okay. And out of 56 here, I said we've sold 30, remaining 26. And for the second location, out of 40, I said we've sold 15, remaining 25. And out of 35, I said we've sold 20, remaining 15. So you can see that the program works exactly the way it should. So that is that about programming. But like I said, the most important thing is you need to make sure that you type things the way it should be. And I think we've been able to cover all of that in this study. I've tried as much as possible not to make it look too perfect so that you can see any error at any given time and you can see how I corrected those errors. So thank you very much for listening. So let's go back to this. Now, in case you have any question, you can send me to us at info@sodetconsulting.com or sodetconsulting@gmail.com for more inquiries. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you.